Now I've had a couple of inquiries from folks saying, hey man, what pedal are you using? How do you, on that demo of the Aria, etc., what pedal were you using? Well, I don't use many pedals. I do have a particularly fixed setup here, and I'm going to run through it in this little video. I'll show you what the current state, because it evolves a bit, every time I see a new toy, I have to have it. So you can see how I get the sounds, either here in the room. If you come in to try a guitar, you get to use all of this stuff. I've got a room side and I've got a recording side. And I'll run through it all and see if it makes any sense. I've got two amplifiers in the room for the room settings. I've got this Koch here, which is at the channel with this one, or the reverb on and off here. And we have my favourite amp, the Lazy J. It's a 20 watt, very simple, just does great sounds. So this is just being recorded just on the iPhone microphone. So none of the rig, none of the DIs, no Focusrites, Pro Tools or anything. This is just what you'd hear if you were sat in that chair. I'll start with the Koch and the two channels that we've got on that. Get the analog delay through either of these two by pressing this button here. I'm now, so we can have a bit of, and you can go crazy. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that all day? So that's the Koch. Now over there is a Lazy J, which I select by pressing this one here. So I'm going through Lazy J now. Basically on its own. Reverb back. Tremolo. Oh. It's probably the best amplifier in the world, I'm not sure. I think it might be. So that's what you get in the room, and then if we go what I refer to on the videos, the demos, as the rig or the modern sound, we come across to the Black Star and the Fishman. When I refer to the Black Star, this is the one I'm referring to. It's a Series 1, it's the 100 watt head. It's got those lovely 4 channels which I can select down here with this foot pad, as a lot of you may be familiar with. Now in the effects loop of the Black Star is this Boss GT Pro, which has about 5 presets that we use on the various demos, and it's basically, we don't use the modeling function on this one, we just use it for the wonderful Boss effects. This one usually is just on a reverb. It got some delays and some compression occasionally, but mostly just the reverb. In the pre-loop of the GT Pro is that parametric down there, which we would only bring in and select the pre-loop if we've got some very obscure
maybe it's an old semi-acoustic guitar that really needs some adjustment at the front to stop it booming. And in the effects loop, 2 effects loops in the GT Pro. In effects loop 1 is the Maxon DM500, which just occasionally, if we decide to use it, provides a very subtle chorus or a doubling or a flange effect. We don't actually use it for echo. And above that, the DM1000, that's our digital delay. Usually set at about 520 milliseconds. We play with that. And that's switched on and off, and the hold function is controlled on foot pedals on the floor. So this is where it all happens on the floor. The right-hand FS5U, that switches a tremolo effect on and off on the GT Pro. This one here switches an auto wah effect off on the GT Pro. This B switches the 1 second Maxon rack delay that's in the effects loop of the GT Pro. That switches that on and off. And that hold function is commanded by this one here.
Everything on the right-hand channel is just fed to this little Fishman Loud-X Mini down here, which is probably one of the best amps we've ever had. It's such a great little thing.
And that essentially is the effects for the studio sound, or the rig, as we call it. And the left-hand and the right-hand side channels from the Black Star are just fed into the front of this Focusrite, and that goes straight into the computer. And we get this.
Crunch setting on the Black Star. I can do clean, and I can do silly things. But I prefer the crunch sounds for most of the guitars we have. What you're not getting is the shaking and the vibrations around this hall. It must really piss people off when they're here. So that's basically what I do with this one here. Is I can put on the GT Pro, I can get a bit of tremolo. So I love tremolo. Just a bit. This B button here, I bring in the other delay, the longer delay. And I can do something quite clever here, old-fashioned. Because I can't use a sampler, I can't use a looper, I can't use any of that stuff because I'm too old for it. But I can use one of these. And if people come in and say, yeah, I want to do some Hendrix, yeah, great. Just click this one here and away you go. It can get kind of fun because if you can get used to it and get used to all the buttons, you can have this sort of stuff going on. sounds. Occasionally I'll have a David Gilmour type thing going on the GT Pro. All it is a different delay setting and a slight chorus. That's it. Otherwise, it's just the different guitars and the different pickups. Anyone has any other questions, you can ask me. Just drop me a comment or something on the video. I'm quite happy to tell you what or how I get the sounds. But I try not to do anything that I don't think you could probably do with what you've got at home. I've got a Spark amp here as well that can do all of this with one click of an iPhone, but where's the fun in that? I like to be able to twiddle knobs, you know what I mean? Yeah, well. This is how I spend way too much time. But then people give me cow eyes to play, so what would you do?